set up to look into the allegations against the DG. The same group called the media to say nothing has come out of it. All of a sudden, sacking letters are flying from left, right, and center. With us tonight is Aliu Sedina Aliu Jaju, who is Human Resource Officer, and Aliu Tal, Food Inspector. And ladies, gentlemen, and lady, my colleague, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is Sedina Aliu Jaju, who I must say former Human Rights Officer. Do we take that title since you've received a sacking letter? What is the most accurate title tonight?
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to join here. Just a quick clarification. I'm not a Human Rights Officer, but Human Resources Officer of the authority. Thank you. Okay,
and then this is Aliu Tal, Food Inspector, former or still current?
Good evening, and I'm happy to be on your platform here to discuss about the petition. Actually, I do not know my fate yet because I've been called that I have a letter waiting at the office, so I have not yet received it.
Yeah, so with me is colleague Julian Jai, and we will be taking you through the current situations, what is happening. And actually, before we go further, we just want to discuss, Aliu, what about the Food Safety and Quality Authority? What sort of office is this for the listeners?
Thank you very much. First, Food Safety and Quality Authority is the sole competent body that is responsible for control and monitoring food that is produced here, that is meant for export, that is imported here. We are the sole competent body that is responsible for controlling all that. So you could imagine the tax that we have at hand.
Mm. Yeah. Human Resource Officer Sedina Aliu, this is a very professional body you representing, right?
Sure.
Where has the problem begun? Looking at the Food Safety and Quality Authority, you are responsible for everything about safety in terms of food in this country. And this is a scientific ground. So what are we here for?
Well, since what you mentioned, it is a scientific ground, I will give the chance to my colleague who is more of a scientist to elaborate the matter. However, I work as an administrator still. It could be recalled that the institution was established in 2011 by the Act of the Parliament to look into the matters of food which are either locally produced or destined for export, to ensure that all citizens consume safer and quality food. Apparently, we are here, as you already mentioned, with the ongoing situation we are confronted with at our office against our director, who is Zainabu Jalo.
Okay, and you are in the Human Resource Office. How is the staffing like at the Food Safety and Quality Authority?
Apparently, as of last month, the food safety has a capacity of 53. Wednesday, 7 of the staffs were sacked, while over 20 were sent on administrative leave without pay. As of today, the number increased to 10 staff who are sacked.
Yeah, we will come to the sacking shortly, but quickly, I just want you to contextualize in terms of the departments you have. There are a lot of directorates, and you are directly responsible for human resource. Could you break down the number of directorates we have at the office?
Thank you once again. Apparently, we have 4 directorates at the food safety. The key one is the Directorate of Food Control, Scientific Affairs, Legal, and Admin and Finance Directorate.
Okay, Judah, this is where we are taking it up from. This is the office have been located, and then the context is clear now. Coming back to Aliu, we talk about, in fact, in the country, it is very current that everyone talks about the petition by about 30 staff against one Director General. What is this about?
Yes, definitely. Looking at the number of petitioners, you could definitely agree that something is wrong with Food Safety and Quality Authority. I mean, it could never be personal. You cannot have about 30 staff taking it personal upon one person. It could never be that. So the goal there has to be clear. The motive behind our petition is to ensure that we have a better office, an office that is run like a normal government institution. At Food Safety is a different story. We emphasize in the petition that the office is run like a private entity. It's like a private business.
That sounds like a big allegation. Could you break it down a bit?
Yes, definitely, because in Food Safety, we do not have set of rules that guide us. What we call the employees scheme. Yeah. So the service rule. Sorry. So in every government institution, there is what is called service rule. Particularly the parastatal, we go by the service rule. So in Food Safety, our service rule is not adopted. So it's like when a constitution is not yet gone to the referendum, so it's not active. Yet, our institution is run by one person, and it has to be DG says.
How do we agree to that? Like the Human Resource Officer mentions that you have about 5 directorates with fully, I mean, a lot of staff all over the country, both Banjul and the provinces, right? So to say, I mean, it is run by one person, where is the problem?
Well, the issue lies on the leadership. In fact, as we speak now, the head of admin and finance resigned 2 weeks ago. The head of human resources department also resigned. The Food Safety, in fact, as we speak now, don't have the capacity to ensure that the citizens consume safe and quality food. Looking at the staff at the borders, only one staff who covers from, let's say, from Bara up to a far distance around Kerouan.
What does that mean? The region, that is North Bank region, is understaffed?
In fact, all the regions, even the head office, is understaffed. There is no region that has more than 3 staff as we speak. And comparing to the number of shops, markets, supermarkets in those areas, so that means the human resources is indeed lacking in all sectors. Even the head office also, we don't have nothing more than 15 food inspectors, comparing the hotels we have and the schools, the companies, the factories, all those things put into considerations.
This is interesting. Gilda, what do you make of this? Are we safe?
Yeah, I would just direct that to the food inspector, considering what the gentleman right here said, that the quality of food, because Food Safety and Quality Authority is dealing with the quality of food that is actually eaten and consumed in the country. So if you're saying that if your house is under fire, where does that take the citizenry? Are we really safe?
Definitely, to answer your questions, we are not really safe with regards to food, because what I keep saying to people is like, if the Food Safety and Quality Authority, the management is not working, if there is no law and order at Food Safety, if people are not treated well, if people's rights are being abused, people are harassed at the office level, you could imagine they are the same people who are going out to the field to work. So if they are not comfortable at Food Safety and Quality Authority, they are not going to deliver like expected. So this is what we are trying to eradicate, to make sure that the ground is level at Food Safety, so that the public would be safe. Definitely, yes.
So as we speak, the foods, especially those that are imported in this country, it's not really, whether it is of quality or not, people really don't know. Like foods just come in the country anyhow without inspection.
I wouldn't say that, because before this petition, we've been doing our normal routine work. Inspectors who have been going to the field, inspecting business as usual. So I could say before this petition, people were actually consuming good food. But since the petition came in, the management decided that they would send us all out on postings. and which we did not accept, because given the circumstances that we have at hand, that should have been addressed first, and that is the petition. And then they refused to assign us tax. So for the past 3-4 months, we have not been assigned tax to go go about our businesses like we usually do. And then, people were not safe for the past 4 months.
Yeah, that really comes to what I was saying.
Yes,
like, people are not safe because the food that is really imported in the country is not inspected, to ascertain whether the quality of that food.
Okay, for the imported food aspect, I personally am posted at the seaport. So us at the seaport, we report to work every day and we do our work as usual. So I will tell you, at the seaport level, we inspect food that is coming into the country.
How often do you do
We do it every day. We do it from morning till late in the evening.
Even as we speak, with the recent fracas between you and the managing director?
Yes, definitely. I just closed from work and then I had to come here and join you and join the program here.
Yeah, Sayyidina Aliu, from the TAL's presentations, it looks like that the staff are complaining against the Director General, and looking at the complaints, you want the DG to resign. But given the explanation so far, don't you think that the staff are expecting too much?
Well, I will not say expecting too much. Even if we are to expect too much, we have to expect it. Because looking at the year of its inception, since 2011, up till date, has been many years. The question should have been, what is our achievement? Believe you in me, we have failed the population.
On that note, do you think it would be fair to place the blame on DG? She is one person and you are more than 30. How could a Director General single-handedly control 30 intellectuals and in a professional institution like food quality, food safety and quality authority?
Yeah, looking at the organogram of the food safety, the DG is the final head who reports to the board of director and who also takes part at the sittings of the board. So it will be practically impossible for any institution, the staff, to make a change without the intervention, either the help of the leadership. The leadership type we have at food safety is very dictatorial, that has no interest for the public, that has no interest for the staff, that has no interest for the welfare of people who are working under her. These and many other factors.
Okay, before we go further, this is a leader who has no interest to any one of these staff. And that means no interest for the country then.
Good.
This is dangerous. But what has the staff been doing before the petition with a view to remedy the situation?
I am a living witness. Our staff who were posted either at the port or at the borders, normally they submit their reports. So part of their reports, they will come up with recommendations, challenges, and the way forward. Since after the submission of all those reports, nothing has been provided to those people who are on the ground to ensure that the citizens consume safer good. Imagine our staff who are at the borders, they don't even have access to the internet to send their weekly reports to the authority.
Would you ascribe that to be the national infrastructural failure, because internet is a problem across the country? Is that one of the reasons, or why are we saying that is from the leadership?
Well, if you look at, let's say, Farafenye, there are banks, and banks cannot operate without internet. So that's not an excuse. There are many internet service providers. Even you are at Bolibanda, you can even have access. We are not talking about being on live video, but just sending a file through your email. That one might not need that stronger internet to do so. Imagine those staff, in fact, they don't have computers to work with. So a staff without a computer, without a tool, how do you expect him or her to execute his tasks to ensure the citizens consume safe and quality food?
So, that that really takes me to the next question, which is actually a follow-up question to this one. You have seen that said that the staff have been sending recommendations to the management, but they have not been acting on it, correct?
Yes.
But for how long has this been happening, and why haven't you reacted to it since the initial stage?
This thing has been going on years. That is why some of our colleagues who were unable to resist the heat resign. But people like me and others, we refuse to go.
Why?
Because we believe if we all go, who will be there to correct the wrongs? That is why today we reach at this stage of correcting. That's what triggered the petition against her, to ensure that the public is aware, to ensure that the people understand the constraints we are confronted with under the leadership of Zainab Bujalo.
So for how long have you been working with the food safety?
The last time I checked, I started at food safety sometime in January 25th, 2015.
15, that is like 5 years.
Correct.
And for 5 good years, you've been working under this circumstance.
Indeed.
What is the urgent need? Because if you can work for somebody for 5 years and you feel like, the president is not giving you your due, why do you decided to come out at this moment now and not before, 5 years ago?
Well, you also have to understand the synopsis with regards to the struggle. Let me take you back. The people who liberated the Gambia to independence, it took them many years before they can liberate us. If it can take those people 50 years to liberate us, then taking us 5 years or 4 years, then I think we have tried.
Yeah, in that situation, just maybe Charlie want to quickly talk on that situation. It is quite a long time that the staff with competent people sitting so long, waiting, knowing what is at stake. The country's safety was at stake and is still at stake. Why was such a silence?
Well, there was not really a silence. I think staff at the food safety were not empowered. You could agree with me 3-4 years ago, people are not empowered to speak their minds, to write in the newspapers their minds, and to reach out to media. Imagine if we
who stopped them? Where was the restriction coming from?
But that was the kind of country we lived in. And now we have a free country where everybody is able to express his or her view. I mean, we could have done it long time ago, but then the DG is almost untouchable during that era.
Why?
Yeah, but for reasons that we could not, I don't know.
So it is a mere allegation for now?
No, it's not a mere allegation, but then we knew that she was untouchable.
But
definitely.
What made her untouchable?
Well, I cannot answer that question, but I knew at the beginning when I came to food safety, you could not say anything against the DG. Maybe because of the political environment we were in, or the change of government we came in to enjoy the freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
Speak into the mic, yeah.
Freedom of expression, maybe that might have warranted it.
Yeah, but for us, for example, in the media, we will say we could not do our job effectively because we all knew that we feared someone or someone was always watching us. It doesn't stop us from doing the work. For example, that we could tell you that, okay, former president was not in support of the media, and if you insist of doing the job, you have a tussle with him. But in your case, we yet to find out why was the DG, left alone with all this stuff, dancing to her tunes. And all of a sudden we getting the information that she should resign.
Yes, so these things take some time. I mean, you need to take some time to gather your facts and gather your evidences.
Yeah.
So you don't want to just go against someone overnight and then you lose the battle, and that wouldn't turn well out on you. So the leadership flaws we saw in DG, probably it would take you 1 or 2 years before you could realize that. Yeah, so
she was doing it professionally.
It's natural that it took this long. Yeah.
Okay,
of course, he did mention that the your DG was untouchable because of the citing, of course, the political situation at the time. But it's been 3 years since the former president Yahya Jammeh left the country, and now most people are saying that we're in a democracy. So why didn't you still come on board now that knowing that you can speak your mind freely, you know, on issues affecting you?
Well, just to elaborate on what my colleague Aliu mentioned, yeah, the fact of the matter is, Zainabu is strong, and no one can dispute that. During Jammeh's era, Zainabu has sacked many staff, and many staff resigned under her watch, which I believe she had the political backing of the Jammeh's administration. And also, you cannot also come out and elect someone without having your evidences, without having your proofs. That is why when we are able to gather all those evidence we needed, imagine looking at the report, we are vindicted, and almost all our allegations, 90%, happen to be true.
Okay, but do you still believe that Zainab is backed by maybe Barrow? Hence you said she was backed by Jammeh then.
Well, I would not like to say that for now, until and unless justice is not prevailed. We are still in the process.
Okay.
Though it is taking so long.
All right, thank you.
Okay, just quickly. Just before that, now the petition that the 32 staff signed was forwarded to the office of the vice president, under whose office food security is definitely under. Now, what came out from the office of the vice president?
Since we filed this petition, it happened at a time when we the petitioners, did not know our board of directors. We had rumors that some had resigned. They had some times have some time has elapsed, and you know, there was actually no board at the time. So when we filed this petition, we did not know who to give it to. But then information does not flow at food safety. So information is restricted to those that, you know, are in the inner circle of the DJ. So we filed this petition, and we saw it wise that we could definitely send this petition to the office of the vice president. And we did, and we got written back to through the board. In the letter, it says that our food safety was formed by an act of parliament, and then there is a board, and we should refer the matter to the board, and the board would handle it internally. That was the time we came to know actually there was a board at food safety. So you could see the institutional lapses.
We are just wondering, you were serving an institution whose structure you, the staff, don't know of. Who stopped you from knowing this?
Yes, because these information are privy to the management and the director general. So if they don't make it available to the junior staff, there is no means that we could know about this information.
What was the nature of staff meetings? Conventional offices have regular staff meetings. What was it like?
Definitely, I'm definitely happy that you bring that up. Food safety does not hold staff meetings. You'll be surprised, I know.
How long?
But that is the fact. In fact, the last time there was a staff meeting, that was months back, we had this new HR who had interest in seeing that the working environment is good, like staff interact with the management, and then see to it that the work goes as normal. Okay, and then she proposed that in a memo I could remember that she would be organizing staff meetings where staff would be having the chance to sit down and then work out their challenges through for a better food safety. And the idea was welcome because staff of food safety were anticipating that, but it doesn't happen. The only time you see DG, it's when things are not fine. So it was frustrating, but then we are hoping that we are gradually seeing a better food safety. And then this memo came in, and then the meeting was called on. To our surprise, no one was allowed to speak in the meeting. And the DG took over the meeting and said no one is allowed to speak. So you could imagine how embarrassed and how disappointed the staff of food safety were. So regular meetings...
And none of you was able to raise a point of order?
Yes, definitely. Someone, a colleague of ours, Abdul Hakim, decided to have something to say and to share, and he was never allowed. And that is how he was victimized, harassed in the office. In the end, he had to tender his resignation. When he tendered his resignation, he was forcefully kicked out of the office by the police. So that was a turning point. We could no longer bear the pain we were going through. Yeah.
Okay, so what does actually talking about that one might really wonder whether it's a right or a privilege. So what does I believe that food safety, you have an act. What does the act really says about issues, especially holding of meetings?
Well, yeah, it's not an act per se, it is more of a service rule. And in fact, that service rule, it is still in draft form, yet to be validated, either yet to be adapted. It can only be a service rule until and unless it is adapted. My former boss, Abisar Mane, who resigned sometime in last year due to the bad working conditions under Zainabou Jallow, I was working with her to develop the service rule to meet the standard of governance in the 21st century. Could you believe, when we submitted that report to Zainabou Jallow, she never reacted to that. Until date, it is not validated. And even the draft service rule, there's a clause that states that the staff can petition. And even in our books of the Constitution, the citizens have the legal rights to petition on issues.
This is iAfrica TV, and we are on a special panel on the current staff saga at the Food Safety and Quality Authority, where staff petitioned for the resignation of the Director General, after which a lot of them are now receiving sacking, marching out letters. Well, there was a report after the petition, independent inquiry was instituted, which consisted of Commissioner of Labor, Director of Human Rights at the Office of the Ombudsman, you have a Deputy Permanent Secretary, Office of the Vice President, and then DPS at the PMO. These are respected institutions who has their representation in the investigation. What came out of it?
Well, actually, when we wrote the petition, a commission was established to look into the matters. To our dismay, after the end of the commission, for more than 3 weeks, we never received the outcome of the petition. Only for some of our staffers to be issued letters to the borders. Our colleagues see to it that it makes no sense.
What do you mean they are issued letters to the borders?
They are served with letters to be redeployed to the borders.
From the the city centers to the provincial.
Exactly, like Farafenye, Jarasoma, and others.
So it was that a promotion for them?
Not really a promotion. It was a tactic to weaken our petition.
How does that weaken the petition? Because you are a food safety authority that is serving the whole country. If you are taking from Banjul, taking to Mansakonko, how do you see that? Is it not just part of the job?
Yes, we have no issue with redeployment.
Okay.
I said here earlier, okay, even those people, let's assume now, is part of the work. Those people who are posted at Farafenye, after reaching Farafenye, there are no office space for them. After reaching Farafenye, there are no computers to work with. After reaching Farafenye, there are no tools to work with. Technically, it is more of a tactic to weaken us.
Yeah,
So
we just want to visualize the tactic you're talking about, because we know in this country rural posting is not very easy, and then where resources and facilities are not enough in Banjul itself. Do you expect it to be sufficient in the rural areas? How is that a tactic?
I would like to set more light to that. Barely a week when we submitted this petition, and we were written to by the OVP that the board would handle it. The board called us, the petitioners, and then met us one by one in an interview, and then we explained. We set out our grievances, and then the board saw it that it's a sensitive matter, so they need to hire independent investigative panel to handle the matter. So they gave us their words. We trusted them, even though they were new, complete strangers. We never met them. We never even knew they were there. So we trusted them, and then we allowed them to do their process. They selected this committee. We met the committee, and the investigation started. So barely few days since the commencement of the investigation, the management came up with a plan to disperse us, or the petitioners, the ones that are stationed in the office. So they came out with a deployment, a rigorous one. I remember they came up with, one of our directors came with a paper and then start announcing names, pronouncing names. You are deployed to so-so place, you are deployed to so-so place. That is not how deployment is done at office level.
Okay. So basically, you're trying to say that she was targeting only the petitioners.
Thank you very much. And all those that were moved were petitioners. And then the staff said they were not going to honor a deployment that is based on a list of people's name and then their destination. And then the management had to write to us that you have been moved to so-so place, and even I have been moved. So we saw that it's a tactic, because looking at the timing of the deployment, it's very unnatural that the office would be willing to deploy us at that time. So it is because of the petition is being filed against the Director General. So they saw it wise that, look, if we disperse these people,
troublemakers,
maybe
so that you go
we could actually influence the investigation. They wouldn't be able to reach out to each other. They wouldn't be able to, let's say, share documents. They wouldn't be able to communicate. So within us, they were trying to divide us. That is one reason. The second reason is we saw it that we are not going to honor these postings is the fact that the places that they wanted to deploy us to, there were no structures there at all. So you cannot take somebody to the streets and ask him to stay there and work for you.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jaju, of course you said that after 3 weeks you have not seen the investigation report, but do you still see it, the investigation report, or you still haven't seen it?
Well, I have seen the report,
okay,
as any other Gambian which was leaked online. And if you look at the report, our concerns which we raised were all breaking down into pieces and with response based on their finding. And looking at it critically, it seems that over 90% of all our claims happens to be the truth.
What are some of the claims that it is vindicated in the report?
Yeah, when it comes to the issue of this corruption, it is indicated in the report that Zenabu Jallo, sometime in years ago, she requested a travel of 10 days in which she was issued clearance. Unfortunately, she received a per diem of 15 days. She also requested a money of $183,000, $800 for an air ticket which she never traveled with. And also in the report, one of other points says that Zenabu herself, through a staff system to the airline, requested the airline to give her the cash, but the airline refused to do so because they were asking for a 40% commission, and all is captured on the report. The issue of also her family using of his properties is also on the report.
But just quickly on the travel, Zainab herself talked to the local press. It is in the news for a newspaper today that she definitely paid for her tickets. How do you reconcile these two reports?
No, well, I will see that statement as very misleading because I used to be her personal assistant, and I can't count the number of client requests I wrote to OP. As we speak now, she is not in town.
Yeah, but she also tried to address this, that you, the staff, continue talking about her traveling. She goes from one country to another. But she also said that the staff have a similar privilege where they also do travel a lot. No one talks about that. Why is she the subject?
Yes, I think I'll have to intervene because the issue of the Director General's frequent travel, I think it can be known best by the staff of food safety.
Okay.
Given the way that we operate, the food control, we do write weekly reports, and at the end of each week, Zainab, the Director General, puts in her recommendations, and the report comes back, and then we act on based on her recommendations. So while we go on like that, there will be time that you go to Zainab's office and you will be told that she has traveled, or you need your report. There is an urgent matter to address, and then your report has gotten to her office, and you need it urgently, and she has left town. So the number of times that she travels, that one cannot be disputed, because you know why? We stay in the same corridor for 8 hours, so we know when she is in and when she is not in. And definitely there used to be a time in...
How you say she travels a lot. How often is this? Is it once a month or once a week?
No, in the petition we highlighted, I think, 2 or 3 times.
About 2, and that is normal for a Director General.
At least, and sometimes it's...
How many times?
It's at least 2 or 3. Is it 3
per month?
Yes.
I think, yes, and that is the least that she travels. Except there was a duration when the government put on travel restriction for a period from January 2019 to sometime in May. She barely traveled. But from that end to now... What
do you think were the purpose of her traveling? Because does it have bearing with the office responsibility?
Yes, we do not see any gains in her traveling, because when she comes back, she does not report. I mean, she does not share her experiences. We expect the Director General to go out and see what other food safety agents are doing, come back and share with us. So we do not do that at all. We do not see that at all. So we do not think the travels are motivated by the love for the work. We do not think that at all. We think that the travels are motivated by her personal gains. So she travels a lot. Maybe the report could not...
So you really want to tell us that all these travels 2-3 times a month are really paid by the office?
Definitely, it's the office that pays for all travels.
Who approved that budget for her?
I do not know how their management works with regards to the approval.
This is a problem. Aliu, you chronicle a lot of problems when it comes to your situation against the DG. But with all fairness, if we are not able to have proof of the payments of all these trips, is it fair just to focus on her traveling when even we don't know where is she going?
Yeah, let's get the facts straight. Even that trip is fully funded, still it's a cost to the government. The amount you will use to be spending outside can be used within the office to do other things. As my colleague mentioned, at least people travel for a reason. At least if you travel, you should be able to come up with a policy or a strategy or at least an image of what you saw during your travel. But that has never happened. Food safety is the same as food safety in 2012, which is unfortunate. And
where are your line managers when she is able to do all these things solitarily? What happened to the line managers?
Thank you very much. In fact, looking at the food safety organogram. We have the Director General, Deputy Director General, the departmental heads, and the support staff. Zainabu used to be a Deputy Director General before her appointment as the Director General.
Okay.
Apparently, sometime in last year, I don't know with who or the board, but during her leadership in last year, she demolished the position of Deputy Director General.
With whose approval?
I have no idea.
Did you ask? This as the staff, I mean, do you ask as a staff?
I recall some time ago when we are reviewing the service rule, I raised that question in the presence of Abi Satumane, Baidudu Jallo, and Mohamed Juwara, that this portion is missing. But she shut me down.
How?
That day I was embarrassed.
What did she say?
Flabbergasted, bowl over. That keep quiet, you're supposed not to talk. Your duty is to listen and take minutes. That demonstrates how editorial she is.
You are employed with terms of reference.
Correct.
Did you put that across to her that this is my term of reference, and if it is a concern of this staff, I should be able to talk?
Thank you. I said it. Even my immediate boss, I'm working with, the HR manager, she resigned last year due to Zainabu's attitude. As we speak now, over 15 staff left FSGA since its inception.
On what count?
You can't tell me that those staffs are at fault. If you cannot work, if you don't dance to her tune, the chances of you being sidelined, ignored, are 100%.
This is interesting. Ali, I don't want to bring the gender issue here, but do you think Zainab is definitely in the embattled end simply because she might be a woman?
No, definitely not. Because among us, the petitioners, there are ladies, very hardworking, honest, and dedicated ladies who wanted to see this Gambia consume good food, safe food, and they have kids, and they have brothers and sisters. So we wouldn't do it that way, definitely not. But I would like to set light to our process until we go to the final report.
Okay.
I will try to make it brief. I think I stopped at when the investigation panel came in, and then
you were scattered.
Yes, virtually, but we did not agree. We wrote to the management telling them that we would not honor these postings, given that we had a petition at hand that should be resolved, and secondly, there should be structures in place before we could move to our place of postings. And then we were in the office. My colleagues that were in the office by then, I am already at the seaport. They were coming to the office reporting every morning, and they would not be tasked giving vehicles or to go around and inspect. So they will come and sit till 4 o'clock, and then they will go home. It's not their fault, but management had to tax them. Okay, we were there, and the investigation took some time. We learned that it took three weeks in the report.
Okay.
The board actually promised us after 2 weeks from the starting of the investigation, we would hear from them. And it took 2 months. We did not hear anything from the board. We wrote to the board and to ask about the report and the investigation. And the board never got back to us. And then we in fact wrote to the management asking them to give us back our vehicles to go about our business, our inspection, our daily inspection. They declined, and they insisted that we would go on postings. So, and then we wrote to the board to seek for our the report of the investigation.
I'm not cutting you short, but this is a very good line of the account, but in your complaints, you try to say that she should come down simply because she personalized the office, she used office vehicles at the stake of the official functions. She also used money, embezzle funds, and then favor people she likes, and go against those that she fall apart with. But why do you think she is surviving all these serious allegations?
Well, definitely that's a tough question to answer. I cannot imagine how she was able to survive all these years.
Yeah, today there is arrest. on top of the firing of staff, which you said are up to 10 now, today we understand that there were arrests. Police intervention came to take some of the staff out of the offices because they are fired. Are you one of them?
Actually, known staff was arrested. It was a news that we heard that someone was sent to go and call the police to come and forcibly remove those staff from the office complex. Well, in fact, we were so surprised not to saw the police officers. If you could recall, some time ago,
you didn't see any police officer there.
Yeah, no. But we are surprised that they don't come, because the previous experience we had, our colleague was forcefully removed by the police under the orders of Zainabu Jallo.
Yeah, and if you look at the situation, this is, I mean, interesting one. And you are fired, you are asked to go. You admitted that you've been served a letter today. So why do you choose to go to work? Don't you feel that it is right you stay at home if you are served a letter of dismissal?
Yeah, you know, sacking has to go with procedures. Even at an administrative level, you cannot wake up one day and say someone you are fired. There have to be
she wrote a letter, right?
Warnings, 1, 2, or either verbal or written warning. And even though you are to sack a staff, it has to be conformed with the rules and the policies in place.
But you said you don't have service room already. So which rule should she use?
Coming.
Yes.
I'm coming. That's another aspect of it. We the staff don't honor the sacking. The sacking was illegal, unjustifiable, and as we speak to you, we believe we are still staffs of food safety and quality authority.
Ali, are you not taking a big risk? Yes, Jude.
Will you still continue going to work, considering that you're given a dismissal later?
Tomorrow, sharp 8 o'clock, will meet me in the office.
For what?
I am not sacked.
You don't feel you are sacked?
Exactly.
But you receive a
Our
letter.
sacking has to come through the board. She has no authority, either a mandate, to sack us.
Okay, definitely. I would like to.
Were you appointed by the board?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I shed light to that?
You said there was no board, and now if the DGs give you a sacking letter, are you not taking risk to go to that workplace?
Definitely, we are not taking any risks because we are not sacked, and we maintain that. Because one, the person from whom the sacking came from does not have the powers to sack by the Act of Food Safety. The Director General has limitations. She has places to stop. Decisions, major decisions such as sacking, should come from the board of directors.
But you all intimated that she have very close relation with the board, supposedly, and eventually even with the office of the vice president. For the reason which there is no action taken on the report. Yeah. Why are we not saying this directly if this is the issue?
Definitely. Let me put across a point here.
Okay.
From our Food Safety Act, from one of the many responsibilities he has is the responsible for the day-to-day running of the Food Safety and Quality Authority. You will realize what day-to-day running is not as a bigger responsibility as sacking somebody. So to sack somebody, the board has to sit and agree that this person has to be sacked. And the board has what they call the board secretary. Okay. Any letters that come from the board should be written by the board secretary and signed by the board chairperson. But the letters, sacking letters we received from her, apparently they were signed by her.
Herself.
And
they did endorsed by the office stamp.
Yes, but they did not, definitely to us, they did not come from the board.
But a while ago, you did mention that she was untouchable. And if she's untouchable, then why do you think there is a need to go against someone who you even said that is untouchable?
She was untouchable then. But definitely now she is not, because 32 staff, I mean technical staff, excluding 32 staff, have filed a petition against her. So she's definitely touchable now.
So look, she might you know, I mean, she might not survive. Suppose she did not survive the allegations and the report, according to the way you say it, hold her accountable. If that is implemented, do you think also the staff are responsible for the danger the country is being placed for your inaction?
Well, I might not think the staff are responsible, but the authorities and the stakeholders who are supposed to implement the recommendations of the commission are the ones who are holding the whole country.
What are these authorities? What are these authorities?
The authorities now here, it includes the office of the vice president. The food safety is under the office of the vice president, under the leadership of Dr. Aishatu Ture.
Yeah, Aishatu Ture is an activist. Why do you think it took long for her to take action?
Well, I cannot speak for her in that question. I believe the government spokesperson might be in a better position to answer that question.
What efforts are you doing as the, I mean, the disgruntled community of the food safety to remind her on her responsibility?
Thank you. Coming to here, Africa TV is one of those to persuade, inform the people, because I believe your television has many viewers, and coming here will help to raise our voice. And I believe the authorities are watching this program.
And
yes.
also to add on to that, we've tried by all means to put Office of the Vice President in the picture with all our communications through the management and the board. So we make sure that every letter we send to the board and the management, we copied the Office of the Vice President. But then they indicated clearly that the board should handle it. In this case, we have lost hope in our board of directors because they ignored us completely in the middle of a crisis. They promised to get back to us. They did not. We wrote to them to ask for them to give us the report, and they did not. And yet, the Director General continued to serve us leave without salary letters and dismissal letter, which she doesn't have powers to. So you could see.
On even related matters, we have seen that in her response to Foroya newspaper, she said that the staff have been received on sit-down strike since October last year, and they have been paid salary. Is this anything to go by?
Well, this is what I've highlighted here. The staff never took part in any sit-down strike. We have evidences. If you go to food safety, our login book, attendance books, staff log in every morning up to December. So staff will come to the office.
Do you go to sign and then relax without?
Yes, because if you are not taxed, if I'm not given, if I'm not assigned, and all the vehicles are sent up country, how am I going to perform? How am I going to do my work? It means
there is some element of truth in what she is claiming, because you, as somebody who is yourself, come to work only to sit down. What is the point in that? I know we got to wrap up quickly, and then just throw a light on that.
Yeah, looking at our authority, how it is formed, staff, looking at the chain of command, staff have a boss to report to, and that boss delegate work to you.
Okay.
As I said, if you cannot dance to her tune, you will be sidelined or ignored. And some of us refuse to do her bidding. As a result, we are sidelined. What they did was to send those vehicles to the up country.
Okay, take 30 seconds to say the last thing you want to say now.
Thank you very much. The viewers, the struggle is not about salary increment. It's not about promotion, but it's about a better Gambia. We want a Gambia free from corruption, a Gambia free from nepotism, a Gambia free from abuse of office, a Gambia wherein leaders will be held accountable, a Gambia wherein citizens will consume safe and quality food. And we are also urging the authorities to intervene to end this crisis, because as we speak now, our food inspectors are not executing their tasks, and if that happens, the citizens will be at risk. Okay. The food we consuming, if they are not safe, the chances of us being sent to the graveyards are very
Thank you very much.
high.
Aliuta?
Yes, on my final words, I would like to the public to pay heed to these developments because they are sensitive. They involve their sons, their daughters, their sisters. They have been sacked unlawfully. They've lodged a complaint against the Director General, and then an investigation carried out. They refused to show us the report, and we had to see the leak report. And the report had found the Director General wanting on over 90% of the allegations, and it is there for everybody to see. So everybody can just grab a copy of the report and go through it. If there is anybody to be penalized, anybody to be punished, it should be the Director General.
Thank you very much.
Found wanting.
Julde?
Thank you so much, gentlemen. It was a pleasure having you on this special edition on the iAfrica TV. It was really good having you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. From our viewers all over the world, we want to thank you for being there with us, and it has been a pleasure being with you. And then, before then, you can continue following iAfrica TV programs on iAfrica.tv for this and more other programs. Thank you very much.
Founder and owner of Her Apparel, a mother's clothing brand. Tough Startup has been one of the best things that ever happened to my life, if not the best.
My name is Modula Fati, founder, farm manager, ML Poultry. Before Tough Startup 2018, this used to be my poultry house with about 200 chickens. And today, ML Poultry has just built a new farm with a production capacity of up to 4,000 chickens.
I'm Ivo Lawrence Mendy. I'm the CEO and the founder of Cameco. The Tough Startup, we're able to register the company in Ghana as a limited, let's Ride Africa Ghana Limited.
I urge every single young entrepreneur out there to give it a try. It's a life-changing experience.